Dear students, welcome to the first session of our chapter 5, States of Matter. As we know that any substance that has mass and occupies space is called matter, and it is composed of atoms or molecules. The arrangement of these building blocks gives the matter the various states, physical and chemical properties. And the force of interaction between these particles gives the matter its physical properties, on which the matter can be classified into solid, liquid, or gases. The force of interaction between the atoms or molecules is highest in the case of solids compared to the liquids. Now, in this chapter, out of these states of matter, we will deal with the liquid and the gaseous state. As we know, the interconversion of state is solid to liquid, we call it melting or fusion. Liquid to solid, it is freezing. Solid to gas, it is sublimation. The gas to solid, it is deposition. Gas to liquid, it is condensation. And liquid to gas, it is vaporization. This interconversion of states, the definition and the meaning we should be very clear. Now let's see the intermolecular forces. The intermolecular forces are the forces of attraction and repulsion between the interacting particles. The attractive intermolecular force are said to be van der Waals force. Only a few elements can participate in the hydrogen bond formation. And we know that, as we should know that, the intermolecular forces are further divided into three forces: dispersion or London force, dipole-dipole force, and dipole-induced dipole force. So these are the three types of intermolecular force of attraction. The first type of intermolecular force is the dispersion force or the London force, and it is the weakest intermolecular force. The London dispersion force is a temporary attractive force that results when the electrons in two adjacent atoms occupy the positions that make the atoms form temporary dipoles. And this force is sometimes called induced dipole attraction. The London forces are the attractive forces that cause non-polar substances to condense to liquids and to freeze into solids when the temperature is lowered sufficiently. The next one is the dipole-dipole force. These are the attractive forces between the positive end of one polar molecule and the negative end of the another polar molecule. As in the diagram you can see, the first one is the HCl molecule. H is having a slightly positive charge and Cl is having slightly negative charge. And this molecule is what? Polar molecule. If two polar molecules come together, the negative and the positive end, they will be attracted. The dipole-dipole forces have strengths that range from 5 kilojoules to 20 kilojoules per mole, and they are much weaker than the ionic or the covalent bonds, and have a significant effect only when the molecules involved are very close to each other. The third type of intermolecular force is dipole-induced dipole force. This type of attractive force operates between the polar molecules having permanent dipole and the molecules lacking permanent dipole. The permanent dipole of a polar molecule induces dipole on the electrically neutral molecule by deforming its electronic cloud. Thus, an induced dipole is developed in the other molecule. And in this case also the interaction energy is directly proportional to 1 by 6 raised to 6. The third type of intermolecular force is dipole-induced dipole force. This type of attractive forces operate between the polar molecules having the permanent dipole and the molecules lacking permanent dipole. Permanent dipole of the polar molecule induces dipole on the electrically neutral molecule by deforming its electronic cloud. Thus, an induced dipole is developed in the other molecule. Induced dipole moment depends upon the dipole moment present in the permanent dipole and the polarizability of the electrically neutral molecule. So we can see the diagram where we are having a molecule and it has permanent dipole, a polar molecule, right? And the other one is non-polar molecule, which is what? Induced dipole. So permanent dipole and the other one is induced dipole. When they come together, what type of force is there? That is said to be dipole induced dipole force. The next one is the hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is a special dipole-dipole interaction between the hydrogen atom in a polar NH, OH or FH bond and an electronegative oxygen, nitrogen or fluorine atom. We can see A hyphen H dotted line B or A H dotted line A. What is this A? A and B are the electronegative atoms, oxygen, nitrogen or fluorine. When they form the bond with hydrogen, it forms hydrogen for bonding. In water, we can see the first diagram where the water molecule, when they come together, there's a hydrogen bonding between the electronegative element of water, that is oxygen, and the other molecule of hydrogen. Same. In ethanol, we know that ethanol's formula is C2H5OH. There also the oxygen is there, which is having a slightly negative charge, and the other molecule of ethanol, when combines, the hydrogen will be forming a hydrogen bond. Ammonia, NH3. In ammonia molecule, again the electronegative atom is nitrogen, and the other molecule, when it comes near, the hydrogen will be forming a hydrogen bond, hydrogen atom. So this type of bonds are said to be hydrogen bond. Next topic we have to deal is the gas laws. There are gas laws which we have to learn, which is Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac law, Avogadro's law, and along with that, Dalton's law of partial pressure. Let's talk about the first law, that is Boyle's law. It states that at constant temperature, the pressure of a fixed amount of gas varies inversely with its volume. So if we plot a graph also against pressure versus volume, the graph will be a decrease at constant temperature. So there is a decrease in the pressure according to the increase in the volume. So this is said to be what? Isotherm. The graph which is made or which is plotted against pressure versus volume at constant temperature is said to be an isotherm. Now, the Boyle's law can be explained in a mathematical way, that is, P is directly proportional to 1 by V. That is, why? Because the volume is inversely proportional. So we can write it as what? P is directly proportional to 1 by V. To remove the proportionality sign, we want to use a constant, and here we have to use K1. So it becomes P is equal to K1 into 1 by V. On rearrangement, we can get the form PV is equal to a constant. And we know that P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. And it goes like P3 V3, P4 P4 V4. Like that it goes for different gases. Constant temperature. Or in other words, we can write this one as P1 P2 is equal to V2 by V1. On cross multiplying, we will get the first form itself, that is P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. So this is about Charles law. For a fixed mass at constant pressure, the volume of a gas increases on increasing temperature and decreases on cooling. That means volume will be directly proportional to temperature. And they found that each degree rise in temperature of a volume of a gas is increased by 1 by 273.15 of the original volume of the gas at 0 degrees Celsius. So if we guess that volume of the gas at 0 degree as V0, then T degree Celsius it will be Vt. So the equation can be written as Vt is equal to V0 plus T divided by 273.15 V0. Taking V0 as the common, we can write the equation as Vt is equal to V0 into 1 plus T divided by 273.15. That equation again, if we rearrange, we will get what? Vt is equal to V0 into 273.15 plus T divided by 273.15. At this stage, we can define a new scale of temperature, and the T degree Celsius on the new scale is given as what? Capital T, T is equal to 273.15 plus T, and 0 degrees Celsius it will be 273.15 itself. And this temperature scale is said to be Kelvin temperature scale, or absolute temperature scale, or thermodynamic scale of temperature. So if we write T1 is equal to 273.15 plus T, then T0 will be what? 273.15 in the equation. So we can rearrange the above equation as what? Vt is equal to V0 into T1 by T0. T1 by T0. Now we can write that same equation as what? Vt by V1 is equal to Tt by T0. Thus we can write this equation as V2 by V1 is equal to T2 by T1. That's how we can understand that V by T is equal to a constant. And constant can be given the name K2, proportionality constant in Charles law. Thus we can write this equation again as what? V is equal to K2 into T, and where the K2 is determined by the pressure of the gas and its amount and the unit in which volume is expressed. So in short, Boyle's law, how we can define? At constant temperature, the pressure is inversely proportional to its volume, and Charles law, we can have the fixed pressure, and how we can explain? The volume of the gas is directly proportional to its temperature. So these are the two laws. Thank you. We'll continue in the next